Welcome back, and today we're going to be looking at the Tuya Knives of Wrath. This is a Dave Warren design, and I thought it was very, very attractive. You can get it in several different handle scale variations. This is the Frag Titanium. They also have it in the Sagaha pattern. And maybe just a plain titanium. You have a nice medium to large knife at 7.75 inches with a 3.38 inch compound ground drop point blade in CPM S90V steel with a beautiful satin finish on it. You don't have any jimping, but I don't really find it necessary. You got a nice tip there for piercing task. Good sharpening choil that should give you a ton of sharpening light before it starts to widen up in the back. And you have a nice deep hollow grind right here that comes down to around 13 thousandths behind the edge. So this portion is going to be super slicey. And for your little bit more tougher task, you have a flat ground tip up here that is around 15 thousandths behind the edge. So it still should slice outstanding. Let's find out. The knife came with a really good edge out of box, and that deep hollow grind, man oh man is it slicing well. I'm trying to do these longer runs of cardboard cutting just to see how this higher tips drop point it will perform. And you know, with this length, as far as I go, it was fine. I didn't slide out at all, but anything bigger you could possibly slide out of the cut. Now, I did get hung up on the sharpening choil a few times, but I made it an adjustment and I didn't really have any issues after that. But so far, so good. Slicing very well. We're going to test the ergos and how well that edge wants to bite into this piece of birch. And right away, I decided to start really putting some pressure down into this wood. The hammer grip was comfortable and I was able to get a lot of force into the wood, and it was basically peeling this like a potato. Such a good edge, and a few times I'm starting almost before the edge into that choil area, so I just had to kind of make an adjustment. It was very comfortable for the most part. Right at the end, when I was really pushing down, the frag pattern was a little uncomfortable by the choil area, but wasn't terrible, and nothing that I wouldn't, you know, would I not buy the knife for. The knife has some pretty good bite to it. When we started cutting the rope, I could tell it had good bite. I was trying to decide if I wanted to try to cut it in that flat grind area because it was a little bit easier. I could push down into the rope and it was doing fine, but I think if I would have used the transition point where it starts to get a little thinner, it would have probably been a little bit easier because I did do some cuts like that. I'm still making push cuts, you know, very easily through this half-inch sisal rope, and we end up getting through 55 before I run out of rope, and I think that is, yeah, I grabbed another piece because I thought I could go through more. Definitely is respectable, and like I said, like I was about to say, it could have definitely done way more than I did. That was just the last piece of rope I had near me. But yeah, comfortable in the pinch grip. You have enough belly to cut on a flat surface very easily. And like I said, that transition point is probably the go-to spot to do, you know, these type of cuts where you want it to be a little bit thinner. But very good so far. Now I'm using that belly portion to do the drag cuts because it has a higher tip. It's too hard to raise up my hand that high to use the tip to do the cutting, but everything else is performing outstanding because that belly I can kind of like do a rocking motion or a sawing motion and easily get through the material. It's blasting through the tubing like it wasn't there. Here I used the flat grind portion of the edge and it did just fine, and whenever I got to the denim, still had a ton of bite to that edge. Very good job, and it was definitely fun doing this test because none of it was very uncomfortable. So outstanding job, and I know I could have done more than what I did in this testing footage. I will definitely test the edge once I'm done just to see where it's at, but I will say sharpening the knife will make it improve so much more. Alright, now let's test out that edge. Oop. Let's test out that tip. Yeah, I would still call that good. Now let's take a look at the deployment of the action. You have dual deployment with the dual thumb studs in the front flipper tab. The thumb studs, nice and snappy action, nice and drop shut action, riding on ceramic ball bearings with a ceramic detent ball. And I'm not really a big front flipper fan. However, this one's done outstanding. Nice and grippy. It wraps around so you can grab the very top if you want. Very, very positive. You can do the roll around. Can you do the front? Yep, you can do the front flip. Just as long as you keep your finger off that lock bar, but nice and smooth action, and it's been breaking in more and more the more I carry it and use it. Now let's take a look at the handle scale area. This one is frag titanium scales, nice and contoured. You have a titanium Damascus pivot collar, Torx T8 for the pivot. Unfortunately, you have Torx T6 for the body screws. I really wish they would swap them to all T8. You have a small lanyard hole for the lanyard people out there. You have a flush titanium backspacer, milled titanium pocket clip. Now, it is tip up, right hand carry only, and it's not really deep carry. You have about that much sticking out, which isn't bad. However, this starts to be a pocket shredder because it is sitting on top of that frag, so it's going to drag over your pants back and forth, and it's going to eventually tear up them pockets. You do have a hardened stainless steel lock bar insert. You have some heavy skeletonization on the top and bottom, and if you can see in there, hopefully you can see that, it is numbered. This is number 59 of 172, and I'm guessing that's of each pattern. Quick weight in grams, 109.1 grams or 3.8 ounces. Awesome. Now let's take a look at the lockup. It's sitting at around, I'd say 50% or so. Very, very solid lockup. Absolutely no movement whatsoever. Excellent access to the lock bar because of this cutout right here, and it has some texture there. Very easy to get to. Size comparison with the Ontario Rat Model 1 and 2. Pretty much identical to the Tuya NV4 and a little bit bigger than the Benchmade Bug Out. Last we have the Spyderco PM2 and the Hogue Ritter RSK. Alright, now for nitpicks and complaints. I wish it was tapped for lefties as well. I'm not sure if they make a lefty-handed version or not. Wish they would use T8 throughout, and this could be a pocket destroyer, being that clip is on top. And something that's just kind of throws my OCD tendencies off is the flat portion of the pivot is usually on this side of the knife. But they put a logo in the flat portion on this side, and I'm guessing it's because they have this titanium Damascus pivot collar. Not the end of the world, it's not hurting anything. And if you're worried about the frag texture being too strong, there's always the other options. So overall, what do I think about the knife? I absolutely love it. I think this is my favorite Tuya so far. Kind of reminds me of a more EDC friendly Chavez knife or something. It's got beautiful action. It is super, super slicey, comfortable, excellent size, good weight, and overall I think it's a good looking knife. So love to hear y'all thoughts. Any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one.